David Goggins. The name itself just sounds tough, right? But his power, it's not just about being some kind of super athlete. It goes so much deeper than that. So let's dive in. We're going to break down the psychological blueprint that fuels his incredible resilience using the very framework he built for himself.
I mean, that's a pretty bold statement, but it's what you hear over and over again from people who've seen him in action. And that's not just hype. It's a reputation he's earned by doing things most people would consider absolutely impossible.
And that's the real question, isn't it? Where does it all come from? Well, the source isn't in his muscles. It's in his mind. The entire answer is pure psychology, a set of principles that, believe it or not, anyone can understand.
Okay, so the first and most important piece of this whole puzzle is a complete rewiring of how he deals with discomfort. We're talking about fundamentally changing what pain even means to him.
Now think about this for a second, because this goes so deep. Our brains are hardwired for survival, right? For thousands of years, pain meant danger. It was a biological stop sign telling you, hey, back off. What Goggins did was basically hack his own brain. He deliberately recoded that signal, so for him, when that feeling of pain kicks in, it's not a command to stop. It's a notification that says, growth is starting now. He doesn't just put up with it, he actually looks for it, because he's turned it from an enemy into the very fuel for his strength. This isn't just a mental trick, it's the core operating system for everything else he does.
So, that's the foundation, but it goes deeper. Because that mindset isn't just a tactic he pulls out on a tough day. No, it's part of a complete, deliberate transformation of who he is, his entire identity.
And that word killed, it sounds intense, but it's not just for shock value. Killing the old self is about making a clean break with the story you used to tell yourself. See, he realized his old identity, the one defined by insecurity and all these limitations, was like a prison. So he didn't just try to change a few things. He burned the whole story to the ground. It was a conscious decision, a point of no return, just to make sure a totally new identity had room to grow.
And just look at the new identity he built. These aren't just, positive affirmations. They're like new lines of code for his brain. When your core identity is unbreakable, the option to actually break under pressure just doesn't compute. When you're unstoppable, quitting becomes a logical error. It violates your own programming. This new identity shuts down all that internal debate and self-doubt that the old self was constantly dealing with. It's not about trying to feel strong. It's about making weakness totally incompatible with who you are now.
All right, so you've got this new mindset, you've got this new identity, but what do you actually do in that moment of extreme struggle? Well, that's where his mental toolkit comes into play.
First step is something he calls the cookie jar. Now imagine a real jar where you keep cookies for a treat. Goggins' jar is all in his head, and instead of cookies, it's packed with every single victory and every single obstacle he's ever overcome. So when things get ridiculously hard, he reaches into that mental jar, pulls one out, and reminds himself of what he's already survived.
And that's the whole point. Each one of those remembered struggles, every small win, it's not just a memory, it's fuel. It's hard proof that he can keep going, turning all that past pain into present power.
But what about that moment? We've all been there. That wall you slam into when your brain is just screaming at you that you have absolutely nothing left. Well, Goggins has a rule for that too.
This number right here, it's everything. Goggins' rule is that when your mind is telling you that you are completely, totally, 100% done, you're actually only at about 40% of your real capability.
That 40% mark is a mental wall, not a physical one. It's just a safety mechanism your brain created to keep you from going too far, and it's the exact point where almost everybody quits.
But for Goggins, that's not the finish line. That's the starting line. The real growth, the real change, the real strengthening of your mind, all of it happens after you push past that 40% wall. It happens in the other 60%. Think about that for a second. There is a vast, untapped reserve of potential that most people never even get close to. Goggins basically lives and trains in that 60% zone. Okay, so having all these tools is one thing, but how do you use them every single day, without fail? Well, this next principle is the glue that holds the entire system together.
This is so crucial. He understands that motivation is just a feeling. And feelings, well, they're flaky. They come and they go. If you wait until you feel like doing something, you'll almost never do the hard stuff. Discipline, on the other hand, is a system. It's always there.
So how do you actually do it? You stop negotiating with your feelings. You just take emotion out of the equation. It doesn't matter if you're tired, or you're sore, or you're just not inspired today. The job in front of you has to get done. So you do it, period. The debate is over before it even starts. So when you put all these pieces together, the new view on pain, the new identity, the mental tools, and that hardcore discipline, you don't just have a bunch of cool tips, you have a complete, unbreakable system for resilience.
And this quote right here, it just sums up the entire philosophy perfectly. His success isn't because of some special talent he was born with. It's not magic.
It all comes down to a simple, repeatable, and yeah, incredibly difficult decision that he makes again and again and again. The decision to not quit. And because it's a decision, it means this path, in one way or another, is available to anyone who's willing to make that same choice. So that leaves us with one last question, and this one's for you. Applying this blueprint to your life doesn't mean you have to go run an ultramarathon. It just means looking at your own challenges, your own 40% walls, and asking yourself, what's the one thing you will decide right now to simply refuse to quit?